Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you to today's program. And for those of you who are abroad, good afternoon, good evening. And for those of you who will be watching our replays, good day. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV and viewers of One News PH on channels 8 and 250. Today is May 24, 2022. And before anything, let's start with our daily starter, where I would read a Bible verse, a quotation, or something that someone said that may apply to our lives. Let's find out what's here for today. Well, here we go. If you listen carefully enough, someone will tell you exactly the kind of person they are. Sit back and listen. And I'm sharing this today because we get so busy, we get in such a hurry. We are in such a hurry to say what's on our mind, to put our thoughts across, that sometimes we fail to listen to the other party or to watch and listen to people. I, for one, with current affairs, with politics, etc., most of the time I'm just listening, I'm just watching, and I'm trying to understand where is this person coming from. Okay, so if you listen, a person will tell you who or what he or she is all about, what their political plans are, or what their state of mind is. Okay, so there we go. And just in case our associates at the studio and our EP is viewing the screen, I don't have a monitor. So I don't know what's going on. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And today's headlines, I don't know if that's there, but no screen for the meantime. Okay, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. Marcos stops noise, NEDA chief for post. That's the headline. Marcos stops noise, NEDA chief for post. It's yesterday or the other, yesterday it was already announced that the presumptive President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos has recruited former National Economic and Development Authority NEDA Chief Arsenio Balisacan to return to his post under the incoming administration. And according to BBM, he has decided to recall or to reappoint Balisacan because the former has worked with the latter when BBM was still governor of Ilocos Norte. Okay, at the top of the front page, you see that fiery photo of a fast cat that was, it caught fire off the coast of Real, Quezon, leaving 7 dead people and 127 rescued. Okay, COMELEC accuracy of May automated polls at 99.93%. Meanwhile, Congress eyes May 25 proclamation for BBM and for VP Sara. Hospitals report slight increase in COVID admissions. According to sources, there was a 5 to 10% increase, okay, of current hospitalizations for COVID-19. So mababa na yung hospitalization, tumaas lang ng 5 to 10% from the low numbers, okay? So BBM meets envoys, discusses nuclear plant revival. presumptive President Bongbong Marcos has met with the South Korean ambassador in the hopes of getting help in reviving the mothballed Bataan nuclear power plant. Okay, and the last two articles, Philippine-Australia Friendship Day Festival at SM, okay, at Mega Mall. And then last, USCDC officially opens country office in Manila. Let's go for a quick break. And when we return, we will go to the subject matter scheduled for today. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. My apologies kung nangangapa kami sa dilim at naghahanap ng hito at dalag sa putikan. Those are the challenges of Zoom and digital communications. But we're all good. And today, our first guest will be representing the DILG. I certainly hope it's not going to be our final interview, although the subject matter is supposed to be the transition from one administration to another, looking back, what has the DILG achieved, what were the challenges of the DILG. As you all know or might not know, Benhar Abalos, former MMDA chairman and Mandaluyong mayor, has been assigned or appointed as the new secretary of DILG. We're not interviewing him today. We are interviewing our favorite at the DILG. We have none other than Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya. Yusek Malaya, good morning.
Thank you, Sir Cito. Good morning. And the feeling is mutual. You're also my favorite show in the morning.
Akala ko the feeling is mutual. You are also facing challenges with technology. Anyway, as I already mentioned in the introduction, we were hoping to just do a look back on the last so many years of the DILG under the Duterte administration, and just to refresh people's memory of what the DILG has achieved and what were your challenges, etc.
Well, I think the greatest challenge for the DILG was really the pandemic. No, it was, and it's really the greatest challenge to us, no, as a nation. And siguro it's a great opportunity. The pandemic came at a time, at this time, because we were there, and I hope that we were able to rise up to the challenge. Because Sir Cito, it was really the DOH was the lead, no. But as we went along and fought the pandemic, it became perfectly clear, no, that the partner of the DOH is the DILG. Because really the importance of fighting the pandemic meant that we have to work with local governments. And it's really the local governments who were number one in addressing this at the local level. Because yung simula pa lang nun, if you will remember, Sir Cito, no, the problems of isolation, the problems of quarantine, the implementation of lockdowns, no, all of those were in the hands of the department. And also the vaccination, we really partnered with many government agencies to get that to get that started and roll it down in all local government units across the country.
Okay, I mean, if you really want to be, how do you call it, very graphic about it, one would say that the fact that the secretary of DILG got COVID 3 times and nearly met his maker is testimony enough of the challenges of the DILG. But what were the well, you clearly did a good job of shepherding the country through this pandemic. But in other areas, what were the other major areas of concern that the DILG had?
Sir Cito, maluwag kasi ang DILG, no? We have a lot of responsibilities. For example, we are the vice chair for disaster preparedness in the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council. So we've had a lot of challenges also in that regard until recently, no, the Odette super typhoon. So medyo madami-dami, Sir Cito, no? If you will take a look at it, we were also very active in the National Task Force LCAC. We are one of the agencies that chaired many of the clusters of NTF LCAC, and we are implementing the support to the Barangay Development Program, no? The very controversial SBDP, whose budget was slashed in this budget for this year. So, and recently, yung elections, we were very active in the 2019 elections, and itong 2022 elections, we were also one of the primary government agencies deputized by the COMELEC. So I think, Sir Cito, in every major incident or in every major program of government, you will always find the DILG that is part of the implementing agencies.
In terms of local governance, how would you grade, or how would the department grade the conduct, performance, and overall attitude of our local government executives? Because we do know that in many past administrations, there were a lot of problems. Mga private armies, ubusan ng lahi, etc. How would you assess the conduct and performance and character?
Well, that's a very complex question because alam mo naman, the prevailing political culture in the country, sometimes is not susceptible to good governance. But we did our best. We ramped up the seal of good local governance. Dati kasi the seal of good local governance under the previous administration was simply limited to financial housekeeping. So we ramped that up and increased the number of criteria to be able to get the SGLG and get the Performance Challenge Award. So, Sir Cito, for example, yung mayor, if he wants to get the SGLG, kailangan wala siyang notice of disallowance, wala siyang adverse findings from the Commission on Audit. So, that in a way has the effect of improving governance on the local level. And then, meron din tayong criteria on ease of doing business, meron tayong criteria on disaster preparedness, the creation of a dedicated disaster response office in the local government unit. So lahat ng mga innovations na yan on the part of the SGLG, I think, led to improved governance on the local level. Meron kami mga bagong projects na rinol out under this administration, like the road clearing program, and which unfortunately inabutan ng pandemya. But the first phase of the road clearing program was, I think, very successful because yung mga LGUs had to perform well. Otherwise, makakatanggap sila ng show cause order. Incidentally, Sir Cito, yung show cause order na yan, in the past, hindi nag-i-issue ang DILG ng show cause order. It was only during Secretary Anyo's term na we started issuing show cause orders, and I think it had the positive effect of forcing, if I can use that word, forcing the local government units to really improve their performance.
In terms of details, like let's say for instance the ease of doing business, the president recently signed a law, executive order for the online payment of government fees, charges, etc. What is the response of the DILG to that? Kasi may mga nagsasabi na it would be the game changer, but the question is, will there be resistance from pockets of corrupt people?
Yes, there's always resistance. There's always resistance to digitalization or computerization of records because alam naman natin, may mga kalakaran na sa mga local government units. But there has been many local government units across the country that has been using the EBPLS, which is the electronic business permit system. And nakatulong in a way yung pandemya dahil during the pandemic, people were forced really to transition to digital transactions. So we find many LGUs like Valenzuela, like Parañaque, for instance, wherein you can actually apply for a business permit online, and the entire process is digital, and you can pay. You can pay your business taxes online as well. Napersa rin kahit yung Commission on Audit, tinanggap na rin nila yung digital transactions. And kaya, in a
But
way...
what about, Yusek, kasi matagal ko nang pinupush yan dahil binulong sa akin ng misis ko. Yung digital payment for fines, because, hindi naman siya nahuli, but a friend of ours was arrested for coding violation, number coding violation in Baguio, and that was the suggestion that she made, that even the traffic violations, the paying of fines, even in Metro Manila, should be done through PayMaya, for instance. Kumbaga, okay, amin na yung ticket ko, o ito, amin na yung PayMaya account ng MMDA, here, ayan, tinransfer ko na, or even with the SLEX and NLEX.
Yeah, madami mga LGUs that have adopted already digital payments, but as you know, alam mo naman kasi, no, there are different types of LGUs, different types of mayors, different types of governance. So some LGUs unfortunately have not yet adopted digital payments. So I heard that the next administration is going to make that as one of its major programs. The improvement of our internet and the improvement of digital transactions, or what is called as the digital transformation of government. And I hope that they get to deliver. Kumbaga, those are the things, Sir Cito, na unfinished business ng DILG that I hope Undersecretary Abalos, they'll give it really a big push.
What about this extension of barangay terms? I don't think I've heard any response or reaction from DILG on the suggested term extension of barangay officials.
Yeah, kami kasi, Sir Cito, when I discussed that with Secretary Anyo, kasi nga malakas yung issue, because I heard the presumptive speaker, Martin Romualdez, suggesting that. When I discussed that with him, sabi niya, John, let's leave that to the next administration, the next Congress. If they will, if they think that it's a good idea to pass a law to that effect, it's fine, no? Pero kami kasi, Sir Cito, our position from the very beginning has always been to proceed with the elections as scheduled. But I understand si presumptive speaker Romualdez, concern is the cost of the elections, no? Makaka-save tayo ng around 6 billion, and we understand naman our fiscal situation. So again, it will be something for the next president and for the next Congress to decide on.
But I assume that the current administration, or Secretary Anyo and yourselves, as well as the other officials, will be consulted, because I think all of this depends on what will be the impact of not having new elections for barangay officials. Kasi kung okay, first of all, are our current barangay officials generally okay, doing well, performing well?
Again, that's a very difficult question to answer, no? Kasi there are different types of barangay officials, no? Ako, Sir Cito, if there's something that I think the next administration should also consider, and the next Congress, is to pass the reform of the barangays, no? A barangay development act, no? Or similarly to the one that was passed for the Sangguniang Kabataan, because kapapasa lang last week yung reform ng Sangguniang Kabataan, where the policies that govern the SK inayos, no? So sabi ko, kailangan na rin ng ganito for barangays, kasi napansin natin yan nung pandemya. We have very good barangays, no, who are functioning very well, pero meron mga mahihinang barangays, because for example, hanggang ngayon honoraria pa rin ang mga barangay officials, and yet we expect a lot from them. So I think this is one of those things that should be considered.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were drawing a regular salary as elected officials.
No, they were not. No, they're not, Cito, no, Sir Cito. Ang mga barangay officials are not receiving a regular salary. What they get is a honoraria, and that is the amount of which is dependent on the funds of the barangay. So you will find some barangay officials at tumatanggap lang ng 1,500 per month or 2,000 per probinsya, and you compare that to a barangay official in Ayala Alabang, for example, or Forbes Park, no, who can pay much more. So I think that's one of the things that we have to take a look at and professionalize the barangay officials, no, professionalize the way they perform. Kasi ang dami nating binigay na tasks sa kanila, but we did not really capacitate them, nor did we professionalize the barangays, when in fact they are the front lines of government in serving the public.
Okay, so as it turns out, but if you standardize and officially give them salaries, chances are marami magre-resign kasi yung mga nangungumisyon hindi na pwedeng mangumisyon sa kita ng barangay.
So yeah, we'll have to consider that, no, when Congress finally, I hope very soon, makes that a priority, the reform of the barangays.
Okay, so reform of the barangay, the online digital payments. Okay, now what about the police? Because every time we raise the issue about discipline, about criminality among the ranks, many police officers will say, hindi naman lahat, there is a small minority. But the problem is every month that small minority is in the newspaper. And especially with the isabong thing. What are your learnings as far as the PNP is concerned? If you said that if the SK has been revisited, the barangay should be revisited. What about the PNP?
Well, I just don't have the data right now about the number of police officers that we have suspended, that we have removed from the roles. No, madami-dami na rin yon. But what I can say, Sir Cito, is that this department, especially Undersecretary Anyo, we have not tolerated any incident of abuse, no, or excessive use of force by the Philippine National Police. And I think the record will show that in every incident na may nasangkot ang isang pulis sa kung anuman, no, never have we protected. Kahit nung panahon ng pandemya, even yung mga checkpoints na nangyayari, no, if there's a complaint from the public, ina-actionan kaagad namin. So I think we have done a good job in weeding out the scalawags from the roles of the Philippine National Police. And kilala naman natin sa Secretary Anyo, his reputation precedes him. We have not tolerated, and I hope, no, moving forward, the internal cleansing program of the department is also followed through by the next leadership of the DILG.
What about the online sabong? Because it was Secretary Anyo who gave the recommendation to President Duterte where everyone else could not address the problem. Secretary Anyo seems to have convinced PRRD to put a stop to it. Now, there is an effort of certain parties to continue and to revive the matter, although it has been mentioned by Attorney Vic that mukhang hindi papatulan ni BBM. What's your take on this?
Sir Cito, I think wala nang pag-asa ang isabong na makabalik under this administration. I think the President made that very clear. Ang problema namin ngayon is yung mga illegal isabong outfits that have sprouted left and right when the PAGCOR franchised outfits were suspended or were ordered to stop operations. And ito na yung tinututukan natin ngayon. We're working very closely with the NBI, the CIDG, and the anti-cybercrime group of the Philippine National Police, because we have already identified them. So humingi kami ng tulong nga sa publiko, Sir Cito, if they know where the studios are nitong mga illegal isabong operators na ito, ituro nyo po kaagad sa pinakamalapit na police station, because that's the way to stop them. The other way to stop them, of course, is to stop the operation of the websites. And we're now working closely with the DICT to put a stop to it. Kasi ang mahirap dito sa mga isabong na ito, kumikita sila ng million kung hindi billion, but not a single cent now goes to government because they are now operating illegally.
Okay, now last but not the least, kasi bago tayo magkabaybayan, but you have a recent order ba ito or an appeal to the local government units to officially make it a law or a local law that no CCTV, no business permit.
Yes, that's right, Sir Cito. Actually, yung ibang mga LGUs matagal nang may ganyan, no? They already required their business establishments to have CCTV. Pero yung iba kasi hindi naman part of the business permit requirements. That's number one. So what we want to do is for them to pass an ordinance which makes a CCTV as part of the business permit requirements, and they will not be issued a business permit if they don't have the CCTV operation in their business. Pangalawa, there has been complaints from the PNP na hindi maliwanag, hindi malinaw yung footage, no, at instead na makatulong sana, no, ng buo, hindi magamit, no. So the PNP asked us to update the specs, no, specifications of the CCTV, and we put that in the memorandum circular. So if you are a business owner and you would like to open a new business, you have to comply with the specifications listed in the memorandum circular of the DILG, which will be adopted by the local government units.
Yeah, it's like the motorcycle helmets. Nagawa ng DTI na maglagay ng standards kung ano yung acceptable na motorcycle helmet. Ay sana naman mangyari rin yan sa CCTV kasi kung sino-sino na lang, meron pang fake cameras. Kunyari may CCTV pero hindi naman pala functioning.
Yes. So we hope that the LGUs very soon will pass this new requirement. And kasi may mga nagtatanong sa akin, paano ba yan? Will I shut down my business if I don't have a CCTV yet? No. Number one, kung kayo po ay sari-sari store, don't worry, you're not part of the establishments that we will require. No, small and medium enterprises are mostly exempted, but the large ones, the ones in malls, of course, require a CCTV. And if you already have a business permit, you will just have to install this before the end of the year because you will not be able to renew by January.
But Yusek, wouldn't it be better if every LGU simply put up their own? Kasi, that's part of city management. I've seen that in Korea. I know it exists in Baguio, where the city of Baguio has set up a monitoring system na talagang covered. Wouldn't it be better kung LGU na lang ang magpatupad niyan, and the businesses, they pay a certain fee that is part of the business permit?
Yes. Maganda rin yun, Sir Cito. No? A lot of LGUs in the country already have that, especially sa mga traffic spots. No? They use that to monitor the traffic situation and the peace and order situation. But of course, if you're a business establishment, hindi naman pwede maglagay si LGU ng CCTV sa loob ng establishment mo. For example, you are a restaurant, no? If you're Jollibee, no? Di naman pwede maglagay sa loob. So, what we're saying is, as a deterrent to crime and as their help in solving crimes as well, maglagay sila ng mga CCTV sa mga strategic locations in and out of their establishments.
Okay.
And nakalagay doon sa MC yung mga suggested locations where they should put it.
Okay, last but not the least, what are your plans? Are you going to join us? Are you going to go back to the fold of the media? O meron pa tayong kinabukasan because of social media?
Sir Cito, it all depends really on the next president. Although, before the election ban, I was appointed to one of the two career positions in the DILG. So I again, thank you to President Rodrigo Duterte for that. No, but of course, whatever assignment that is given to me will depend on the next president, and of course to the incoming Secretary Benhur Abalos.
Okay, well, that's good to know, and we wholeheartedly endorse you to Secretary Benhar Abalos, because you have done a magnificent job speaking on behalf of the DILG, and not just as a talking head, but as a thinking individual who is giving inputs to policies and solutions. Thank you very much, Yusek Jonathan Malaya.
Maraming salamat, Sir Cito, at nabuhay po kayo, and all the best to your program in One News.
Okay, at pasensya ka na kung medyo mainit-init this morning sa technology. Nakakainis talaga itong technology na ito. Matanda na tayo. Thank you very much. That's Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya of the DILG. Pagdasal niyo po that he continues to be in the front lines and the forefront of DILG, because he is one of the best examples of how government officials should carry on communicating with the public. Okay, we'll go for a quick break, and after that, we will speak to our next guest, who is representing the Coastal Underwater Resource Management Actions. I believe he is somewhere in La Union, none other than Carlos Tamayo. We will bring him up right after the break. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. Thank you for joining us today. And in this second half of the program, let's talk about sea turtles. Okay, well, not just sea turtles. This is actually coastal environment preservation. And with us is a gentleman who represents Curma, or the Coastal Underwater Resource Management Action, Mr. Carlos Tamayo. Carlos, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing po? Thank you very much for giving us a chance to share a little bit about what we do po.
Okay, well, you're very welcome, because I was informed that you are spearheading the conservation and protection of pawikans or sea turtles in La Union. And, you know, I know much about that in Palawan, but I wasn't aware that there was a similar movement in La Union. Before we get into that, what exactly is your background, Carlos?
My background, sir, is actually quite varied. I took up mass comm before. I wanted to do film. That was kind of like my passion. And I ended up doing IT. I also ran our family business is honeybees. So we actually have, we produce honey and we have bee farms in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I also took up fitness coaching. The Coach Jane, I believe, is also the one working on your exercise program, sir. And
Yes.
we were classmates. And now we're here in Lonian. We're based here, and I run the sea turtle conservation program here. And after discovering that this area pala is a sea turtle nesting site.
Okay, sa sea turtle nesting site. Pero ayan mga kaibigan, si Carlos na nagsabi na meron daw akong exercise training program. Akala lang niya. Okay. But anyway, Carlos, you're in La Union, and much of what people know about La Union is gray sand, beaches, surfing. Body surf. That's where I first heard of body surfing when I was a young boy. But how did you? Are you from La Union originally?
Actually, grew up in Baguio, sir. My dad was in PMA for many years, so that's where we grew up. I had classmates that were surfers. Kaya on weekends we would end up coming down to La Union, and that's how we kind of. After a while, we got land here. And then I actually lived in Manila for quite some time, like 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I have a wife and an 8-year-old, when our daughter was 1, my wife, she grew up in Palawan. So pareho kami laking probinsya.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had our daughter, we decided, we'd rather raise her in the province. So we decided to, come back to La Union and, start our life here. It's a more simple life. Quality of life, I should say.
Okay, in many ways we are kindred spirit because my wife and I spent a lot of time in Palawan. We built resorts there, and then we also have a daughter. But and that's where I also discovered that caring for sea turtles can be very easy, but some people take it for granted. How did you get into the establishment of Curma, the Coastal Underwater Resource Management Action?
Yes, sir. So it was one day, actually, it was in 2009. So we live right on the beach. And it was actually my sister and my mom who first discovered may nest kasi that emerged in front of the house. And it was the first time for us to see sea turtles. And, it's quite amazing when you see them. Imagine 100 small hatchlings coming out of the sand and racing toward the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were animal lovers growing up. We had a lot of pets. So naturally, we were so excited. And we've been here for many years. So parang nagulat kami. We're like, wow, we've never seen them here. So we researched, and it was through our research that we discovered that poaching was very prevalent at that time. Sa mga panahon na yun, you could actually buy not only turtle eggs, but yung meat mismo. Kinakatay nila yung mga pawikan in the local markets. So, upon discovering this, we were like, we have to do something about this. And actually, that first season, kasi hindi naman kami marine biologists, we just discovered, and through our research, we found out ang sea turtle kasi they nest in the evening. So basically between midnight to 3 a.m. So in poachers, this is also the same time that they would walk the beach and look for sea turtle nests. So the way to find a sea turtle nest, you have to locate the tracks. Once you see their tracks, there's a certain way to find kung saan siya nangitog. And so what we were doing this first season, ang turtle season kasi is September to February. And it was in the middle of the season when we first discovered them. So we would erase the tracks para hindi na sila mahanap ng poachers. So kumbaga unahan na lang at first. The more tracks we erase, the more sea turtle nests we save. And it was the next year in 2010, we came across his name is Sir Nilo Romoso. He's the one in charge of the Pawikan National Conservation at that time. And he was the one that trained us on what else we can do. So he's in the DENR BNB. So basically we partnered with them, we trained under them. And what we do now is to transfer the nests to a hatchery. So here kasi sa area namin, specifically in San Juan, We are the surfing capital, as you mentioned. And during the surfing season, which is also turtle nesting season, malalakas talaga yung waves. Umabot siya ng double, triple overhead at times. And regularly, the shore break will cover most of the beach. Yung pawikan eggs, pag inabot siya ng tubig, mamamatay. So basically, we have to relocate them into a hatchery. Initially, also to protect them from poaching. But with the poachers, we wanted to understand, yung situation. How come? Why they do this? Is it well? Education was one part of it, but mainly it was due to financial reasons. Most of the La Union coastline is actually quite poor. Ito yung mga ating fisher folk. Kilala lang kasi yung surfing area, but most of it is fisher folk. And a lot of them is the type na kung walang huli, walang kain. And naintindihan namin yun. Obviously, kahit kami unahin namin yung aming anak. So what we did was to create an incentive program for them. Kasi initially, they were actually selling sea turtle eggs anywhere from like 6 pesos until 8 pesos. This is illegally. Kung sila ay nahuli, there is a 600,000 to 1 million peso fine. Kulong pa sila 6 to 10 years imprisonment. So, we knew that for this to be successful, it has to be a community effort. So by supporting the local fisher folks, today, 98% of our pawikan patrollers are the former poachers. So we have been able to eradicate poaching in the province, at the same time, help our locals here through livelihood programs for them. So I believe, this is the only way. Hindi siya kaya na isang tao, isang individual. Ang sea turtles kasi, they are migratory. So it's actually a worldwide effort. And it has to be here, fast forward to today, parang community effort na siya. Like last week, for example, yung sea turtle na nahuli in a net, fishing net, it was quickly reported. And yung rescue vehicle na ng LGU ang nagdala. So it's quite fast. Every time there's a sea turtle seen here, the LGU, the private sector, it works quite quickly. Ang sea turtles kasi, they're very important. They're cute and everything. Pero actually, ang tawag sa kanila is a keystone species. So,
Meaning?
Meaning, ang mga keystone species, like in an ecosystem, sila yung kumbaga foundational parts. If we lose them, we are going to lose many other species. And we also lose the balance of that ecosystem. They're actually part of 2 ecosystems. They're part of not just the ocean ecosystem, but also the coastline. So they are very important kasi ang dami nilang ecological roles, contributions to the environment. Like one thing, for example, they are the ones who control the population of jellyfish.
Okay.
Yeah. Like dito sa amin, sir, this is a surfing, tourism and the beach. That is the main attraction here in La Union. Kaya, like with the resorts and the homeowners along the beach, we make it clear to them that, the sea turtles are actually our partners in preserving, the beauty that we have here.
So sa lahat ng nakagat ng dikya, to all of you who have been victimized by a jellyfish, you have every reason in the world to take care of sea turtles to get your vengeance from the jellyfish. Anyway, let me just include there, Carlos. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if someone tells you, oh, here's a sea turtle or there's a sea turtle, we don't know what to do, please do not put it in fresh water. Try to keep it moist, but get it back to the nearest body of sea or ocean that you can access, because within a 24-48 hour period, dead ball na yan. I have worked with the Pawikan group of DNR before. I used to be a recipient of all of these captured sea turtles, and I used to have a tank here in my house, Carlos, that was a marine tank, and we would just stabilize the sea turtle, and the DNR people would come and pick them up and bring them to Batangas. Anyway, but how does your group, Curma, support itself, Carlos? Because I mean, you spend money maintaining those hatcheries, those protecting those nesting areas and educating the people in the coastline.
Yes, sir. Actually, we have been just funded through private donations.
Mhm.
Lahat kami in Curma, everyone is volunteers. We all have day jobs on the side. But actually this year, because there are so many places in the country that are contacting us and telling us na sa lugar nila, sea turtles are still being eaten, being sold. This is from all the way from the north down to Mindanao. So we're actually in the process of changing the way we operate in hopes that we can cover more areas or at least help other places. Kasi we've been able to create a model that works.
Mhm.
And it is easily replicatable in many parts of the country.
How extensive or how far does the local government units or the provincial government support Kurma?
Yes, here at least in our province, they are very supportive at this point. Like right now, we are actually drafting a comprehensive Pawikan ordinance. Initially, kasi the challenges here was the poaching. And then today, after the big tourist boom dito sa La Union, the main challenges, in a sense, is the tourism itself. Kasi the beaches for a sea turtle, they want the natural setting, which is dark and quiet at night.
Mhm.
So right now, to help the sea turtles, we are drafting this Pawikan ordinance. This will cover noise and sound on the beaches at night. And
During the nesting season.
during the nesting season, yes, sir.
Mhm.
So this is in part to help them. Yung sea turtles then, like you mentioned.
But how do you make a happy compromise, Carlos? Because nesting season is also the surfing season.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Right now, pag may parties, yung La Union, actually nakilala siya more of a party place.
Mhm.
Pero nowadays, when it gets to 10 p.m., wala nang party sa beach. They take it indoors.
Mhm.
So basically, that's how it works now.
Mhm.
Kasi tourism and turtles can actually coexist and they can benefit each other.
Mhm.
So what we're trying to do here, in the daytime, sige, we'll enjoy the beach. Everyone, you can surf, you can picnic, you can play. Sa gabi, let's leave it to the sea turtles naman.
Okay, has the nesting population increased? Because I know of certain areas around the world where they started with very limited nestings, but through the years, dumami ng dumami to the point that nesting season became a tourist attraction as well.
Yes. Actually, since the pandemic, sir, nesting in La Union has doubled. And this is mirrored also in many other conservation sites around the world.
Mhm.
So which also goes to show na malaking bagay talaga yung effect ng tao on the beaches. Kasi like in 2019, for example, we had 35 nests here. And 2020, the first year of the pandemic, naging 65 na. That was the record high in the past 11 years. This season, we had 68 nests. We released around 9,000 plus hatchlings this season alone. So napakalaki nung jump.
Mhm.
And, so moving forward, we are really trying to find the right balance. Kasi in other places, like in Boracay, for example, the nesting site was actually declared as a non-tourist zone. And here, however, in our area, the main tourist site is actually also the main nesting site. So, in a sense, we have a challenge or a chance to actually become the model of how the tourism and the turtles can work together and coexist.
Okay, what about the tourists that go there in San Juan, La Union? Do they do they have an active part in terms of financial assistance to Kurma or for the preservation? Kasi syempre, nakakagulo ka. Dapat magbayad ka naman ng entry fee dun sa nesting site.
So actually, a mandatory one would be quite good. Kami, we try to share as much as possible. Like especially when there are turtle releases. Like this season, for example, from December to February, halos araw-araw, we have turtle hatchlings. So we try and share this with as many people. Kasi, this experience was also the one that inspired us. So we try and share this, and then people are very supportive, especially even if we ask for anything. Like one example, this season, one of our top patrollers, he's a former poacher. Siya wala siyang cellphone pero he's the one who comes across sea turtles a lot. And we made a quick post na with hope na meron siyang cellphone, and kasi so he can document sea turtles. We tag them kasi here, and he can call us if ever there's a sea turtle to be tagged. And right away, actually in the end, he ended up with two brand new cell phones. So
Okay, now does Curma have a? Do you guys have an office or a I would call it shack kasi talaga beach bum ako, a shack where where tourists can go and or bring their children because every day there is that thing where tourists come and after when the sun is hot, oh, what can we do, where can we go? Is there a place for tourists there in San Juan La Union to go na, okay, let's go and listen to the lectures and watch videos at Curma?
Yes, sir. Actually, we're located in San Juan, in Ilinorte. This is where the hatchery is. Mm-hmm. So dito yung puntahan ng mga tao. Right now, actually, we have one unique special turtle. It was born with only 3 flippers and an exposed heart. So at the moment, unfortunately, we're not able to release this turtle. So at least if people come, they can see sea turtles and they can come here and volunteer. Mm-hmm. Through the year, especially pre-pandemic, we have a lot of workshops, trainings, activities, and events that people can come and join.
What about the effects? Because you gather these turtles, do you come across sea turtles that are injured or ill because of pollution? Because lagi nating nakikita yan in videos about plastics, pollution, and sea turtles.
Yes, sir. Quite often it happens. Anywhere from ingesting plastic, getting poison from illegal fishing practices, or sometimes tinatamaan sila ng mga propeller ng boats. Mm-hmm. It happens quite often here. We work with our LGU, the DENR, and the PGLU to, they help and assist to, protect our waters and assist in, cleaning our environment.
Okay. Well, I guess that covers everything for today, Carlos. And I think I will also be interviewing your father on a different subject matter, and as well as your wife on plant-based lifestyle, which I have shifted to, or am trying to. I hope I survived this journey. But anyway, and also maybe one of these days you and I can talk about beekeeping, because all of these subject matters are now modern day concerns or even of Filipinos. Thank you very much, Carlos.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, that's Mr. Carlos Tamayo, Coastal Underwater Resource Management Actions Representative dyan po sa San Juan, La Union. If you are visiting North, drop by. I am sure I myself and my wife will find ourselves there. We've had so many invitations in the past, but the detour was never made. But I think we will be doing that in the near future. Now, okay, let's go to our weekly blessing. It is from Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. And I just encourage everyone to please keep that in mind, the word Thanksgiving. And tomorrow I will be coming out with an article about being ingrate and about Thanksgiving in my column Cito in the Philippine Star. And that's all for today. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we hope you have a good day. And God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News PH.